welcome to the show. I am here today going to be taking a look at Project Cars 3. Now, I have generally enjoyed the Project Cars series. The first one I played a fair bit of. I liked the game. It was flawed, however I did generally enjoy playing the game. It had a fantastic track list, some interesting, you have huge grids of AI cars, and it wasn't perfect, but it was quite good fun. The second Project Cars game, I have to say, was really rather good. There were less flaws in it. It wasn't perfect, but amazing car list. Some really interesting vehicles. You had some fantastic weather and so on going on. Project Cars 3 is still quite a good game. However, the name's wrong, because it doesn't really bear much resemblance to the previous Project Cars games. Now, as I said, it's not a bad thing. I do actually quite enjoy this game. However, if you are expecting something along the lines of Project Cars 1, what Project Cars 2 built on, this is not what you're looking at. This is more of a spin-off, almost. It's closer to a sequel to Grid, or as some people say, Need for Speed Shift 3. It's closer to something along those lines. It is more Grid, Need for Speed Shift style than anything else. Not a bad thing, but it isn't a Project Cars 3 game. So, the way it works, the way it's broken down, you've got a career mode that you can go into. Yes, there is money, you buy cars, etc. You start off in the beginner class. I've not really done too much, I've done a fair few more free-play races. You start off down with road cars, you move up the classes, you know, you're getting faster road cars, get up to hypercars, and then you start going racing the GT cars and invitational stuff and all of that sort of thing along the way. So, you know, I say a generally sensible career mode progression. You do have... So you have a showroom, you'll be buying cars as you go through. I mean, this is fairly commonplace these days in terms of racing game economies, etc. So you've got, you know, this is the Road E class of vehicle. We haven't quite unlocked the 2002 Turbo, the Megane, as of yet, still being the first level. But it takes a long time to get out the first level. Like, you have like blocks within the first level. I don't know. Anyway, so you know, you've got the vehicles you expect. There's some new, there's new cars. There's like the new Supra is in here. The rest are kind of what you would expect to see from a driving game. You know, the road cars aren't really the main. I say not necessarily the main attraction. There's some wacky things, concept in there. We've got some hypercars. It's quite fun to see the XJ220S in here. The Rimax in here, as is the Chiron Sport. Also the new Lotus Evoyage. I don't know how to pronounce it. It looks like a GTA car, if I'm honest with you. It doesn't really look real. And then you've got all your race cars. And there's plenty of these to be having a go with. Basically all sorts of GT cars. Now some of these categories are a little bit mixed up. You know, you get things like GTE cars and GT3 cars, and I think most of the, it's like a Sesto Elemento that's not really a race car, is it? But it doesn't really have anywhere else to sit, and so you get some odd vehicles in some classes. I mean, you get a racing XJ220 and a 935. It's you know, the classes are a little bit jumbled up, but there's a great selection of vehicles, classic race cars. Oh, and here's some really old race cars, super trucks, always fun. Open wheelers. You've got Group N. These are your crazy cars. I mean, they're pretty mad. P4. I mean, I don't tend to race these sort of things. P4, 3, 2, 1. They're not my vehicles per se, but they are all here if you want to play around with them. There's a Formula E car, which is interesting. Nice to see. LMPs. Well, these older LMP cars, basically Can-Ams, and so I mean, vehicle-wise, it's a pretty damn good selection. And you've got fictional sort of Formula cars, still going. There's a Formula X car. Oh, they've got Group A touring cars as well for good measure. Was that in Project Cars 2? It might have been. I don't remember. I think most of the car. I don't know if there's any specific. The Formula E car, I think, is new. I'm not sure if any of the other ones are. I can't remember the car list, to be perfectly honest with you. There might be, but it's a pretty damn good car list. And the track list will continue. So I've literally spent all the time looking at cars. It's very easy to get distracted. We're going to jump into some custom events for the sake of this. So let us go to a track. So track list is also pretty good. There's a mix of fictional and real circuits, places like Linden Hill. Long Beach is here, for example. Laguna. Knock Hill is back. But you also have got somewhere I'm going to find the fictional. So here we go. Havana is here. I think that's the same Havana that you get in Grid, if I remember correctly. But the fictional circuits that I've driven have actually been really good fun. So, yeah, they have been good tracks. I'm going to go Knock Hill. We're going to go Knock Hill with... so that's the only owned vehicle. We're going to go with Borrowing. Let's go and jump into... You know what? Let's go GTC. Shall we go do a one-make race with some touring cars? I feel like that should be a fun idea. Yes, let's go take touring cars to Knock Hill. What more could you ask for, really, from a from a racing game? We're going to go, you know, we'll up the laps a little bit because it's quite short laps around here. 7 laps. Everyone's going to be in identical cars. 31 AI on the grid. That's a lot of cars to race against. That's a lot of cars to race against. And we are going to jump into this one. Now, you are possibly going to be wondering, I should have maybe said at the start, but we're here anyway. I'm driving this on a controller today. I do have the sim rig and so on set up. However, this game actually drives pretty well on a controller. I'm going to be honest, when we're messing around with it, it's more than fun enough to drive on a controller. I couldn't be bothered to move all my recording gear over to set it up on the sim rig. It works, I've got to say. It does drive a lot better on a controller than I was expecting it to, because it is that little bit more arcadey, shall we say, in terms of race physics, in terms of how the cars, they are still very good fun to drive. Again, do not get me wrong. Some people will think that that is me detracting from the game, and it isn't. The vehicles are still good cars to go driving with, and it works. You know, it works perfectly well on the controller. I'm perfectly happy to sit here and play this one on the controller. I got a terrible start from there, but there we go. Right, Knock Hill. Turn 1 is always fascinating mess of cars. Now, previous Project Cars games have sometimes had fun times with large grids and AIs getting confused around the place. When they're in a big pack like this, they can be quite slow, but they do generally have some quite good racing. From my experience with them so far, they have generally been, you know, quite exciting to race against. Like, they'll have their own battles, they'll try and dive bomb you, they'll dive bomb each other, there'll be little bumps and shine. There'll be sort of little bumps, little accidents that look natural, if that makes sense. You know, someone goes for an overtake, it doesn't quite pan out, and you see cars sort of spin off to the inside. I don't quite know how good the brakes are on the Civic. Should have really had a dive through there. We've got someone looking to the outside. Oh, there's something kicking up at all sorts of gravel around there. Now we're up to 26th position so far. So yeah, the actual races themselves are all pretty exciting. Handling physics wise, the cars are good. You know, they've got quite a lot of grip. You can, certainly these race cars, you can really chuck them out. The Evo that I was driving for the bit of the career that I played around with would slide a bit more, not being on racing tyres and everything. Can we have a little bit of a look up through here? Not really. Everyone's going to be single file. This is always an iffy corner. Go for an overtake on. Yeah. Oh, there's a little. I might go to the steward's office. That was a little bit of leaning. The curves, launch the vehicles up onto 2 was not quite as spectacular. Remember, I didn't quite hit it as hard as you would with the actual touring car. Yeah, I'm well aware within striking distance. I very much thought about having a go at the inside. I just wasn't sure I'd got the braking right. I'm still, say, learning a little bit with this. You can be quite aggressive with the brakes in these cars. Can we have a look at turn 1, perhaps? We may follow this car through. Oh, up to turn 1. There you see the car bounce its way across the curb. They do sort of bob around. It might be a little bit more to do with the kind of camera angle. There's a change camera angle, but you've got interior view. Oh, I don't like the helmet camera. I don't like the moving around. Okay, should have stuck with what I knew. God damn it. Well, now we've got more overtaking to be doing. Yeah, you've got all sorts of all your camera views that you would expect. Oh God, but I've just been. See, I've been playing a lot of Horizon and what I've just ended up going to the third-person camera at the moment, and it takes a little bit to readjust to. Especially, I don't like the cockpit cameras. Never have with all the movement going on. There's a whole lap has been a horrific amount. It's been the most terrible lap. Okay, we're going to get a little bit of clean air, and we're going to see what we can do. So yeah, driving-wise, more arcadey perhaps than the Project Cars name would suggest. Not a bad handling model though whatsoever. Cars do seem a little bit. The cars seem a little bit bouncy on the track. I don't know whether that's just set up. They don't really drive like that. It's more of a visual thing going on with them. We're going to be aggressive over there. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the UI, I'll be honest, not my favourite particularly. It looks a bit. I don't know. I'm not sold. I'm not sold on the UI. I kind of like the little track map bit is kind of interesting. So they have like this corner mastery thing that you can do and racing line and whatnot. I guess to try and help sort of more inexperienced drivers learn the tracks and all that kind of thing, which is fair enough. And that system's interesting enough. No, that's a fun little thing. But yeah, the rest of the UI seems a bit. I don't know. I don't know the best way to describe it, other than it's not my favourite UI I've ever seen. It's functional, it's not completely awful, it's just nothing particularly special, so to speak. Or, not that that's the most important thing when you are driving a car at the end of the day in these races. Can we be making... Oh, I never get that corner right. Or is a little... I'm either too slow through the corner, or I think I've got it right and put my foot down and then just get massive understeer. Well, massive understeer, but I just can't get the exit right. Right, they're in a big old battle up ahead. We've worked our way back onto the tail end of the group. We haven't got very many laps to try and do something about not being last, pretty much. Here we go. It was the fastest lap of the race, mostly because I was about the only car in clean air. Can we have a big dive at turn 1? No, we can't. Oh, it's going to tell me off. So it does have its... you can turn it off if you don't like it. It has its own inbuilt track cutting penalties. I will say it's not like a fixed amount. It does seem to register how much... Like, for example, there is only a little bounce across the gravel, so it only gave me a little penalty, for example. Oh, we're going to bobble a little bit more there. You can get rid of it if you don't like it. Sometimes those systems can be a little bit unfair. I haven't come across it giving me ridiculous penalties on here, not for that one. One of the events, a time trial event, was giving me ridiculous penalties for getting invalidated laps. So you go off the circuit, invalidates a lap for a time trial. Well, that's fairly normal. But this one was giving, if you like, to brush the curb. And this was a street circuit, so you slightly tap a curb and the game says, nope, that's an invalid lap. That was a little bit irritating. But other than the actual corner cutting penalties so far have seemed relatively fair, which is always a difficult thing to judge, of course, because there's going to be times, of course, where it's a little bit unfair, these automated systems. An AI car pushes you out wide, you can't do anything about it. But yeah, it doesn't seem too bad. And again, I mean, like this race, okay, we had a bit of an issue, but I'm having a lot of fun driving the cars around here. And just simply driving the vehicles is pretty good. We're having a good battle with the AIs. I like the way the AIs are fighting in this. They attack, they defend into the corners. They don't do too much stupid things. They've not all got... I mean, they slow each other down when you're in battle. Of course you've got to slow each other down. That's how real racing works. They're nowhere near as bad as they used to be for getting sort of all blocked up and causing mayhem. Are we going to have a good run towards turn... Oh, I thought we had another lap. I lost track. I've been doing that a lot lately. It was an entertaining... Not often you say 27th was an entertaining race. It was, though. So that's a little go with the touring cars. We've got fastest lap of the race along the way as well. Yeah, we're not going to be in that little group, are we? No. Not at all. So we get some XP. We get some stuff towards leveling up, and this is where I say where the game gets a little bit strange. So you get your cars earn XP as well. I think when you level up, you get discounts on upgrades, because that's not something we've talked about yet. But Project Cars 3 has upgrade systems. I don't know if it's for it's not probably for every single vehicle, but if you go into the showroom, actually it's not going to work here, probably. I think it shows on the car if they're upgradable somewhere. There we go. Okay, it does show here. So there you go. You can upgrade the vehicle. Now, it's not quite Forza levels of an upgrade system here. We're just going to the garage. Can we select you? Go to upgrades. So it's not quite Forza levels of upgrades. As you can see, this is the rating system. And how you upgrade the vehicle will change it up to, the road, like to a D-class road car and all of that sort of thing, which is interesting enough. Not too expensive on the old upgrades either, which I like to see, with one exception. But one very interesting exception that I did like to see. There is a full race conversion. We don't have the funds for it, but I do like to see the ability to convert a car to a race. We haven't seen that since Need for Speed Shift, which is a fairly interesting little thing. We have got suspension, gearbox, transmission, all of that sort of thing. You can put a big old turbo on if you want to make it in the next upper class. Maybe not a big old turbo. Actually pretty cheap to get big performance gains. That's a lot of that's a lot of power for 760 credits. That I quite like. It gives you a lot of flexibility to mess around with cars, not going crazy on the old. You might not necessarily spend much time with this. It is part of the game. And this is what I say. It's a little bit more grid-esque. It's a little bit more Need for Speed Shift-esque. A lot bit more than that, than it is Project Cars. If you are expecting that more serious simulator game, this isn't going to be the one for you. But that's not to say that you're not going to have enjoyment out of this one. We are going to... let's go to somewhere else. I'm going to stick with borrowing cars for the moment. Where do I want to go? That's Monument Canyon's kind of fun. We've got plenty of circuits that you all know and love. Where do we want to be? There's so many to choose from. I like Sugo. Let's go Sugo. Yeah, let's head over here. Sure, why not? We're going to go... Do we go for something quite quick? I'm not very good with quick cars, if I'm honest with you. Never have been. You know, actually, let's say let's go with something quick. As I ponder, should I go with a Formula E car? Formula E is relatively quick. Of course, Skyline's a monster in this category. There's so many choices. It's like, what do I want to have a massive accident in today? I reckon we're going to be a little bit mad. Do we go with the Zack Speed Capri, or do we go with the BMW with the biggest front lip in the world? Let's go with that. Let's go with the big Beamer. Sure. Oh, they have my number as well. Even better. Yes, please. Apply changes. Oh, then we go back. 7 laps around Sugo. Sugo's a relatively short circuit. Let's go and launch this one up and see how it goes. Now, everyone else is going to be in BMWs, so this is a big jump now. We've gone from a touring car, you know, front-wheel drive touring car, plenty of grip, not crazy amounts of power. I mean, it's still powerful cars, of course, but not crazy levels of power. And now we're going to these are 600 horsepower, 2,000 pounds. Very little rules really with these vehicles, from what I remember. It's a bit of a mad contraption, but I mean that's good. At the end of the day, that is what we like. That is what we like to see. Some wacky, some different cars. Let's just go and jump into the race. As far as difficulty goes on this, what am I driving against the AIs on? Pro. So I'm one below the... I'm going to leave them on medium aggression. You can make them more aggressive if you want. You can make them less aggressive if you want. This, difficulty-wise, seems about right. I may be getting a little bit closer towards the higher end of this, but... I mean, I like to prat around with start at the back and have fun, rather than worry about ultimate lap pace and all of that sort of stuff. So I might end up dropping off the tail end of this field. I'm not 100% sure, and haven't quite gone for these cars. I've gone for some of the faster GT cars and whatnot so far, but not quite gone for the turbo machines. Now I've got no assists on. You know, if you are less experienced with the racing games, there are plenty of assists that can be turned on that can help you learn tracks, learn the cars, and all of that sort of thing. These are big turbo monsters that will try and have a crash at any given opportunity, especially if you are a lunatic with the throttle. By all means, use the slow down thing in the braking zone there. That will kind of help get me slowed down. Oh, we're going to bobble and bobble and bobble, and that's fine. Unleash 600 odd horsepower towards the next corner. Are we going to go around the outside of some cars? Sure. I mean, it's some good, clean battling going on. Apparently it was a perfect corner. I didn't really feel like that was a perfect corner, if I'm honest with you, game. You were a little bit kind there, considering we're all stacked up behind... I got stacked up behind a slow car, and we're going to get 3 wide. Oh, I don't want to be 3 wide down here. Really, really don't want to be 3 wide down here. Oh, and I'm on the outside. And we get big old understeer wide. God, that got very busy very, very quickly. Now, let's see if we can. I mean, we should be able to catch back up, mostly by virtue of the fact that I'm running around on my own. You know, we're running in clean air. Don't quite know how much speed I can get away with in this final quad. I love this track. Sugo is a fantastic circuit. I would love to see in more games. I'm not quick with these cars. Admittedly, we were out of position a little bit, which won't have helped matters. But I am definitely not that quick with these cars yet. That's about common for me, really. Touring cars is where it's at. Once we start going quicker than touring cars, once we start going... I think these are probably less aero-dependent and more just... Oh, God. You've got to get turning point absolutely spot on with this, otherwise you just understeer for a million miles. Am I going to get told off for corner cutting? No, not quite. I was not expecting to be this far off the pace, I will be honest with you. Oh, come on. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Just going to sit and understeer. Again, it's annoying when it looks like there's a big fun battle going on up ahead, and I am just a little bit too slow. I'm probably about a second a lap at the moment. I might be able to learn by the end of this race where it is at. But, so you see a very, very different car here in terms of driving physics, and again, on a controller, certainly not the controller that's giving me the grief, shall we say. This is just my lack of knowledge with this car. I know the track okay. God, I don't know if I've driven around it before. I've driven a few cars around here before. I'm just not quite quick enough. So you want a challenge? Yeah, you're definitely still going to be finding that one here. Oh, big dive on the brakes for the car. This is probably a poor idea. You get the idea at least for these. I won't keep going for drive around for 7 laps on my own necessarily, but you get the idea for the car, for the circuit. You can slide it about if you want. I suspect it's got lots of power, not all that much grip for larking around. There isn't any of the drift cars back in this as far as I'm aware, at least not at the moment. Can certainly mess around with that car if you wish. I won't subject you to the rest of that while I'm trying to figure out a track. Maybe by the end of it I got the hang of the car. Slightly disappointed in my lack of speed myself in that one, but you know, there you go. You get the idea of that. I was going to go try and find this. So I did drive this circuit. This is a fictional circuit. What other ones? Okay, so we've got a little bit of the rallycross here. I like Zolder as well. Tuscany. This is a fun little. So this is one of the career modes. This is the one that had a really funky telling you off for running a little bit wide and brushing a curb sort of a moment. But there we go. What shall we drive? Let's go with GT Open is just kind of a the GT Open is here are some very fast cars that don't really fit in any categories. Oh, that's going to be death if I drive the Jesco. Yeah, GT Open is just some fast cars that have at it. Oh, yes, I feel like a field of Challenger Hellcats. I feel like this is a good idea. I also want the one with the flamey-looking paint job. Yes, that will do for me nicely. Thank you very much. Let's not go do 7 laps because it's quite there's a longer lap around here. So as I said, this is one of the fictional circuits. Actually a really, really cool circuit. You know, I don't have a problem with games adding in some fictional tracks. If you're going to make some interesting, really cool layouts, of course, real-world circuits, some of them are less exciting to drive than others. It's some of them, I say, are less exciting to drive. Some of them I just don't like driving as much as others. Track is just some tracks suit my driving, some tracks don't. But yeah, if you're going to throw in some fictional ones, you know, go for it. Make sure that they are interesting. You know, make sure you got some cool scenery. This one is a tough circuit. I don't know what it's going to be like to race around. That could be quite entertaining, shall we say. It's a bit narrow in places, this circuit. It's quite narrow in places. So, yeah, what could possibly go wrong with that? Okay, I tried I went for booted off the line and hope for the best, because being careful hadn't worked in the past, and we just just spun the wheels. I mean, to be fair, as expected, it's a Hellcat. I don't know how much power it's running. I didn't have a look before we started. Hopefully the full 700 and something, but I don't know. It might be detuned for fitting into this class. Who knows? So they're all having a big old battle up ahead. Oh, and so yeah, this is the track. It kind of winds its ways around the hills. There's some fun hairpins. There's some interesting overtaking spots, like a big dive down the inside here. Oh, that's 3 in 1 corner. I'll take that. Thank you very much. We'll have another little sneaky look underneath. I don't know how far I can get away with jumping across the kind of dusty tarmac bit. Whether I'm going to get shouted at and given a track extending penalty, I guess, more than corner cutting, so to speak. Are we flat down here? It might be on a future lap. Let's get you slowed down for this section. Someone's out very wide. I would like to take that position away from you. Can I have my 28th place? Thank you. Oh, okay, so the answer is... Oh, you've got to be really careful. I feel like That's a little bit tetchy, especially if you're trying to overtake on what is already a narrow thing. Maybe slightly better markings than just, say, just a white, like some sort of curbing or something. I don't know. That's the most tetchy I have seen it. I did half expect I might have trouble with that when I was going for it. I guess you've got to kind of push it and find out eventually. Can I get underneath you while you're all stacking up a little bit through here? Oh, we're going to have the back end move around, but it moves around, you have time to catch it with this, which is quite nice. We'll bobble a curb, but it's not, you know, at least two wheels are on the track there. That's, I think, well, I would say that was fine. What the game reckons, I don't know. We'll back into single file line through here. So yeah, that where I hit that curb on the inside, there is what invalidated a time trial lap around here. So, I mean, that's minor. You know, that's only a small little thing at the end of the day. We're really going to go 3 wide up ahead. Oh, well, I was a little bit squeezed, shall we say. Now we've got other cars getting much faster runs off that corner. I don't want to really be on the outside here. Oh, there's going to be a bump. There's a little bit more of a bump. There's a bit of a crash as well. Can I get both of you? Thank you. I will just take the dive up there. I'm just being a little bit braver than the AIs that are kind of currently stacking up behind each other a smidge. Difficulty-wise, one of the other things that sometimes get with games in general, I think Project Cars 2 did it a little bit. You find, you know, you set the difficulty at whatever point is good for you, and then you find you get this really big spread in the field between cars. This field seems fairly bunched up, which is nice to see. So you're likely to have an exciting race if you've got the difficulty set correctly. You're not likely to find yourself in a big no man's land gap. That's, you know, at the end of the day, that's what we want. We like close racing. I'd much prefer to have this sort of wheel-to-wheel racing over 24th than start in 6th, move to 4th, and not really see anybody for most of the race. No, I'm not going to finish 4th in this race, I don't think. But that's fine because I'm having a whale of a time. We're going to have a try. It's a good cutback from the AI. Unfortunately, I was really poor coming up the hill. I just got no speed going on. I think we can probably defend from these cars. That was good. There was a good cutback. Now we're going to be on the inside. Please don't be too slow, or let me sneak up. Massively clobbered the curb there, but that's fine. We get away with it. We actually carry good speed. Do I want second out of these corners? Maybe I do. Maybe it's just the longer gears in this car are catching me out, and I could actually be in second coming out of some of these corners. I feel like third was where I wanted to be at, but maybe not. Oh, we can try and find a way past. Graphically speaking, I mean, it's a fairly decent looking game. As I said, the UI might not be the most fancy, but you can, if you take that away, it's certainly not a bad looking game. You've got, I don't think you've got the snow. I don't think I saw snow. I might have missed it on the tracks I looked at, though. Don't think you've got snow, but you certainly can have weather. You can have changeable conditions. It's just not as dramatic, not as drastic as we have seen in previous Project Cars games. Oh, that's a huge dive. This is the 20th position. We're going to move up a place here. Oh, come on. Come on. As far as bugs and whatnot go, I haven't really come across anything in my time of playing this one. We're going to be 3 wide. It was side by side, 3 wide with me sliding the car about. We're going to be on the outside through here. Oh, okay, there we go. We'll have a big old dive. The only thing I will say is, even on what I have is a relatively powerful, quite powerful PC, in fact, with a couple of the variable weather races, when it got to, it was a specific corner on one of the circuits, I had a fair chunk of frame drops. The rest of the time, though, it has run very, very smoothly. It does seem to be, if there's going to be any frame drops, it's probably going to be weather related. But other than that, yeah, I haven't had any problems whatsoever with the game. Can we have a look up the inside through here? Nope, but if you give me a quarter cut, thank you for not giving me a quarter cutting thing. I technically was off what I think the game reckons the circuit is there. However, I didn't really have much choice. You guys are all being very careful. Oh god, they're 3 wide up ahead. Folks, I mean, you're making yourself really slow here. You've got me up to 12th. You know what's about not finishing 4th? Who knows? They really are slowing each other down here. This is a big old train of cars. I mean, I'm just picking up places where an opportunity arises as they battle one another. We have a really good run through. You know what? I'm going to push that car past. We've got one more lap. I mean, Can we have a big look here? Yep, that's 6th place. Okay, mate. Well, it's a poor run over the corner, sure, but maybe there is a chance if we don't have a crash here, which I'm desperately trying not to have a crash here. Oh, it's 3 wide again in the challenges. It's a little bit of lunacy. There's certainly some cars I need a little bit more practice with, or perhaps the AIs are slightly faster at some circuits than others, I'm not sure. But yeah, there's some... Oh no, we got connected. That's not what I needed. So, it's not what I did, not what they needed either. Sorry. Whoops. Not the finest overtaking manoeuvre I've ever done. We are in 6th. That was a terrible first sector. I don't know how it was my best. I guess maybe it was the least amount of traffic in the first sector. That puts me to 5th. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, Hellcat. We can do this. Don't jump a corner. Don't get a penalty now. Especially not coming up a hill. That'd be terrible. That sort of slow down thing. Are we going to be able to do anything here, though? That is the big question. I mean, we know the AI actually really don't like this final corner coming up. Oh no! Come on, game. I mean, was that a corner cut, really? I guess, well, maybe. And that was me trying to be fairly careful, knowing that the game is liable to do something. So yeah, apparently they're a little kooky with this old... oh yeah, they struggle with that one corner, because we are actually... Somehow we're still going to launch it. Apparently it was a clean overtake. There was a little bit of paint swapping going on there. We will scythe our way past in the end. Okay, didn't quite expect to recover in that manner, shall we say. I'll take a victory where I can get one. Yeah, fun, really fun circuit to drive. A little overzealous, perhaps, with the corner cut bit, but there we go. That's a victory for me in the Hellcat. So yeah, I mean that's kind of an overview, a little look at Project Cars 3. It's might not be what you expect based upon the name. If you are looking for an ultra serious sim racer and all that kind of thing, this isn't going to be the game for you. However, if you are looking for a game with an amazing track list, amazing track list, some really interesting cars, a good car list, some good fun racing, then yeah, this is actually quite a lot of fun. This is quite a lot of fun. Yes, it's a fair bit more arcadey than perhaps previous titles, but that's okay when it is still very, very good fun. The UI may not be my favourite ever, even in these menus, it's not my favourite UI I come across. It's functional, if nothing else, but there is a lot of fun to be had with this one. I feel, anyway. Said may not be for everybody, that's fair enough, but I have enjoyed my time racing around with these vehicles, and I'll probably play a bit more with it, especially with the race conversions, because that looks quite entertaining. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.